Hello, wrestling fans. This is Sal Lasardo reporting in from Orlando, Florida, with this edition of Rough Cuts, the Wrestlemania edition. Yes, Wrestlemania is coming up upon us Saturday, April 2nd and Sunday, April 3rd. 2 nights, 14 total matches, 7 each night. So we're not going to delay it. We're going to get right to it. But before I do, please be advised, these are my opinions only. They're not affiliated with Bill Apter or the WWE. Welcome to this very special edition of Rough Cuts. It is Wrestlemania time. 14 matches I got to get to over 2 nights, 7 matches for each. So let's get right to it without any delay. Night 1. Stone Cold Steve Austin will join Kevin Owens on the Kevin Owens Show. Well, you know, Kevin Owens has been calling out Steve Austin. So we obviously know that Stone Cold has agreed to show up. What's going to happen is it's not going to be a match. It'll be basically a kick to the stomach and a Stone Cold Stunner, and then he's going to toast the crowd with a couple of beers, and that'll be that. It'll be a short and sweet, get the fans going somewhere in the middle of it. It won't be right off the bat, but somewhere in the middle. It will have the Kevin Owens Show. The fans want to see the Texas Rattlesnake. It is in his own backyard, so you know it'll just be a couple of stunners here and then the beers, and it'll be basically just break the tension kind of thing, and the crowd will be able to see Steve Austin for maybe one final appearance in the WWE per se. Let's move on. Charlotte Flair will defend her SmackDown title against the rowdy one, Ronda Rousey. A lot can go this way, either way. A lot of people say Charlotte can retain, Ronda's going to get it. I honestly think that Charlotte is going to find a way to retain. I know Ronda's back to get the title. I think you got to put the chase on for Ronda. And you got to get the fans to clamor for her to get. And I know in a lot of previous WrestleManias we had nothing but title changes galore. It just defeats the purpose. I like to see the champions occasionally come out on top, and it hasn't been that way the last few years. So I'm going with that Charlotte is going to retain and put Ronda on the chase, and let Ronda then at some point, June, July or something, maybe SummerSlam, then finally take the belt. But I'm gonna put Charlotte over the top here to win the match and retain her title. Disqualification, I'm going to think it's going to be underhanded. I don't think Ronda will get beat clean. I think it'll be some kind of underhanded tactic where maybe Charlotte uses a weapon and Ronda's going to complain, and Ronda will go on the chase and get Charlotte again in a match down the road. But I'm going to say that Charlotte's going to walk out. You know, Edge and AJ are going to go at it, and Edge is having this dark, evil heel look. Again, AJ's winding down here, so again, this is a toss-up type of a match here. Very good matchup for both. Prime of their careers, coming to the end of their careers. But I think Edge is going to find a way. I just think Edge is going to find a way. If AJ Styles is going out, you go out on your back, and that's how the business per se works. I don't see AJ winning. I see Edge somehow getting a spear, cutting edge, however you want to call it, and AJ will get defeated 1, 2, 3. The USOs will take on Boggs and Nakamura for the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. I don't see the USOs losing here. I don't see it. Don't see it. Will not see it. It'll be a high-flying match for maybe 5 to 7 minutes, and the USOs will find a way, and they will retain their title. Drew McIntyre will take on Happy Corbin. Happy Corbin won't be very happy after this because Drew McIntyre is looking to get back in the title picture, so you can forget that. So he won't be happy. He will be very unhappy. And Drew McIntyre, I think it's going to be a very short, quick match. I don't think this is going to go very long, to be honest with you. I know a 6-match, got to fill a couple hours. I don't think it's going to go very long, to be honest with you. I think Drew will just dominate. Baron will get a couple of good shots in, but it's just going to be mostly just Drew McIntyre and say, look, I want another title shot, and I'm going to get it. And that's what's going to happen. Miz and Logan will take on the Mysterios. A lot of people have been saying, well, maybe this is the time that Dominic Mysterio turns on his father. I think if we're going to get a surprise on night 1, that's what it's going to be. I really believe if it's going to happen on night 1, I think that we're going to get Dominic turn on his dad, and his dad is going to get pinned by Logan, and Dominic is going to leave with the Miz and Logan. That's what I think is going to happen. I really think that Dominic's going to turn on his father here. If they're going to do it, this is the grandest stage of all. You might as well do it in front of the largest crowd in Dallas, Texas. Why not? It makes perfect sense, especially if you want to turn Dominic heel. And Ray is, again, going out soon. So this sets it up, and then maybe they have a father and son match against each other. So, yeah, I see Dominic turning. Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair is the last thing I have listed on night one. Becky's going to retain. Becky's going to retain here. I don't see any doubt that Becky doesn't retain. What I could see, since I don't have Ronda beating Charlotte, perhaps Ronda makes her presence felt in this match, and after Becky is showing and holding up the title, perhaps maybe she teases that she's going to say, I don't need Charlotte, I want Becky. That could be a possibility. There may be a stare down or something at the end. Maybe Ronda comes out on the ramp while Becky's holding up the belt, and maybe Becky's like, oh, yeah, okay. So that's a possibility. I think Charlotte and Ronda will close the show on night one. I think that will be the last match. I think that's a very realistic possibility. But if it's not, then it'll be Becky and Bianca, and then that's where I could see Ronda maybe showing up at the end. But if it's at the very end, then no, I don't think we'll see Ronda at all, if it's going to be Charlotte and Ronda closing it. But it just depends on the placement of the match. So that's night one. Let me get on to night two here. Night two, Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Finn Balor's got the United States Championship. I know Damian's had it, and what's going on with Finn? I don't really see Finn too much. We see Demon Finn. I'd like to see Demon Finn come out. I think a lot of people would. I see. Yeah, this is going to go either way. I was contemplating Finn here, but since I don't predict any title change on night one, I'm going to say Damian Priest is going to get the title on night two. He's going to get the United States Championship off of Finn on night two. That's going to be my prediction. There's been a talk about what's going to happen with Seth Rollins as Cody Rhodes show up. Seth Rollins is going to come out and complain that he doesn't have an opponent. Will we see Cody Rhodes? I think they should save it for Raw, for Monday night, for the night after, personally. But if they're going to do it, I don't know how you can let Cody lose if he is indeed going to make this appearance at WrestleMania on night two. Especially since he's from Texas, too. I mean, they're from Texas. In their own backyard. In Cody's backyard, too, in the state. So if Cody does show up and this does happen, Cody's going to win, and he's going to have his wife with him, too. So I can't see how this plays out any other way. Fans want Cody, and Rollins is going to complain, and they're going to get Cody versus Seth, and Cody's going to get the 1, 2, 3, maybe even with the help of his wife. Raw Tag Team Championship, RK Bro versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. Everyone thinks that Randy Orton's going to turn on his partner. No. You know what? They're too popular, number one. Number two, why? You know, you got a good thing going, a good gimmick going here. Randy's not getting back in the title picture. There's no sense in him fighting his tag team partner. Why not keep the titles? I'm going to say they're going to keep the titles. I'm going to say I'm going out. I'm saying they're going to keep the titles. I can't say why. Alpha Academy already had the title, so does Street Profits. I mean, leave the titles on RK Bro. They're a hot commodity. People like them together. It's an unusually different tag team. And considering what Randy had to go through with the Bray Wyatt stuff and the paranormal stuff, I like this. I like this team. I really do. And a lot of people do. But now you want to turn him on? No, I don't see. I know he's a Viper and going to turn at some point, but give the fans what they want. You know, you're tuning in for 2 nights. Give the fans what they want. Randy and keep the titles. Keep it. Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville. I see Sami Zayn walking out of here in this. This will be an interesting matchup. Don't knock this match too badly. This has got a lot of potential here. I know it's not like big name, but still, Sami and Johnny are gonna put on a surprising match here. Believe it or not, they're gonna put on a surprising match, and Sami's gonna win. Sami's gonna get the pin 1, 2, 3. Another interesting matchup, Pat McAfee and Austin Theory. Yeah, Pat McAfee. Yeah, that Pat McAfee that does the radio show when the announcer, Remember, he had his WrestleMania moments as well. Well, he's going to have another one. Does he get a WrestleMania win over Austin Theory? Interesting. No. I know a lot of people. No. Austin Theory is going to get the 1, 2, 3. I think Austin Theory is going to get it. Yeah. Austin Theory is going to. I want to see what Pat McAfee is going to say on his radio show on Monday after he gets pinned by Austin Theory. People start calling it. I say Austin Theory is a wrestler per se, and a very talented wrestler. If you haven't seen him wrestle, you should. So I'm going to go with Austin Theory. I guess he was anointed by Vince McMahon to fake on Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee's not winning. He's not. He's going to look good. Look, if you've seen Pat McAfee in the ring, yeah, he has looked very good, but no business beating Austin Theory at WrestleMania. No, Austin Theory's going to win. The women are going to have a tag team match. Yeah, I know it's been forgotten about, right, fans? I mean, what? The women's got a tag. Wait, what's going on? Queen Zelina and Carmella have the titles. In case you haven't noticed, I know it seems to be forgotten about. Well, they're going to take on Naomi and Sasha, Rhea Ripley, but she should be in the women's title scene, with Liv Morgan, good team there, Natty and Baszler. Well, Zelina and Carmella are going to lose. I think that's a foregone conclusion because the titles haven't been relevant. The question is what do you do now? Who do you put it on? Because it just seems like it's just a forgotten title. And I think if you're going to pull it, now you got to pull the title, but you got to put it on someone that's going to make it relevant. I think they're going to put it on Naomi and Sasha. My heart wants to see Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, believe me. I want to see Liv Morgan with the title with Rhea. But I really believe they're going to put the title on Naomi and Sasha. Because, number one, if Bayley comes back at some point, Bayley could be jealous of Naomi because Sasha and Bayley were the tag team champions. There could be some heat there and add some fuel to that fire. First of all, how do you have Sasha in a match and she doesn't have gold? So there's another question here. Sasha doesn't have gold. Rhea doesn't have gold. Baszler doesn't have gold. There are women in here that have had gold that don't. But I believe that since Sasha's probably not going to get back into the women's title picture right now, I believe that Naomi and Sasha would be better off. Because I do see Rhea getting back into that title scene with the Ronda Rouseys and the Becky Lynches. And I see happening. So I think as much as we, and me personally, would love to see Rhea and Liv win, I really believe they're going to go in the direction it's going to go with Naomi and Sasha. And that's where I'm going to go towards. I think it'll be much better off. In the long run, it'll be a bigger payoff, too, because you can bring Bayley back into the true fold. And that way you can move Rhea back into the title scene. What does it do for Liv Morgan? That's a big question, too. Maybe they can, Naomi and Sasha, they can have a little bit of a battle. Natalie's just winding down. I don't know what's going to happen with Shayna Baszler. That's another thing. That's another limbo situation. Where did she go? Queen Zelina, Carmella, Carmella's got her thing going off, and Zelina, it just hasn't been relevant with them. So it's coming off, the title. I'm going with Naomi and Sasha. My heart would love to see again Rhea and Liv, but it's going to go with Naomi and Sasha. To end the night, Roman and Brock. What do we say that hasn't been said about this? Title versus title. Someone's going to get both belts. The wild card in here, obviously, is Paul Heyman. We know that. Paul Heyman just turned on, so it's not going to be Heyman's going to turn on Roman, and you can't buy into that again. So how does Brock get through both? That's going to be the question. And I believe that it'll be Paul Heyman will be the deciding factor in this. That Paul Heyman will cost Brock Lesnar that title, and Roman will get the pin. 1, 2, 3. And then what will happen when this is over? Can you smell what The Rock is cooking? I believe once Roman's got that second title, Roman is going to appear to close this out. And they might just build up the hype for one of the titles, and then Roman's got to defend the other one and probably lose it at some point. That's what I think is going to happen. I really believe we're going to see The Rock at the end of this. Roman will beat Brock with the help of Paul Heyman, 1, 2, 3. And then The Rock is going to appear. And they're gonna plant the seeds, because next year they're in Los Angeles. Look, they did this before with John Cena, and they hyped up that match for a year. Remember, they did the 1 year out. There's no reason why they can't start the build for 1 year with Roman and Rock right now. There's no reason. Why not? Why? The Rock doesn't need to go into the Rumble in January 2023, win it, and to face his cousin. He doesn't need to do that. He could just show up on night 2 to close the show and start building the hype in Los Angeles. I want that title. And then Roman's going to agree. And then Roman's going to spend the rest of the time defending the other one, whatever one he wants. And then at some point probably lose it. And then we're going to get the build at the Rumble for the match at next year's WrestleMania in Los Angeles. That's where I think it's going to go. We're gonna get The Rock and Roman in Los Angeles. You can book that. I'm telling you a year in advance. We're gonna get The Rock and Roman in Los Angeles. That's given. So to make it that way, you have to have Roman with one of the belts. At least. If Roman loses to Brock, then what's the point? What's the point? There is no point. You can't have it like that way. So you have to bring the twofold in. And the way you're going to do it now is Paul Heyman's going to cost Brock the title. And then as Roman is celebrating, you're going to hear Rock's thing go off, and Rock's going to challenge him a year in advance for one of the titles. Got to be one. Ain't going to be both. It can't have Roman with both belts for a year. Come on now. Roman's going to have one of them, but he will lose the other. Maybe the Raw title. I could see Roman losing the Raw belt to Drew McIntyre. I could see, honestly, Roman Reigns will get both, but he will lose the Raw title to Drew McIntyre at some point, because he'll be so focused on his cousin to facing him that he will lose that title, and then he will do everything he can to protect the SmackDown title until he faces The Rock in Los Angeles in 2023. And that's what's going to happen. 14 matches over 2 nights. Your thoughts? Going to be good, bad, ugly? I think it's going to be... I mean, they broke it out into 2 nights, so it's not going to be, uneventful. It will be interesting. There are some very good matches with the title versus title. I want to see the women's tag team title. Both women's title matches are going to be very good. Seth and Cody will definitely be worth the price of admission. What about Edge and AJ? Going to be another great match. I would say about 60-70% of this card is definitely at least worthy. You're going to want to sit. No doubt in my mind. At least 60%. You got the title versus title, the women's tag team title, both women's title matches. That's 4 right there. Seth and Cody is 5 right there for sure. Edge and AJ is 6. Stone Cold's going to show up. So, that's about 7 matches. About half the card or so. So that's where we're headed with it. So, at about approaching 19 minutes here, happy WrestleMania. The night before, don't forget, they have the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Undertaker is going in. Vader posthumously, Sharmell, Booker T's wife is going in. So there's going to be some worthy inductees going in, so you're going to want to check that out. I'll be tuning into WrestleMania for both days. Your thoughts on it. And as always, for this edition of Rough Cuts, be safe, be well. May all of your matches be a main event. See you next week. Have a good one, gang.